Hi, I'm the rancher.
And I'm the wife.
Every morning, we wake up to a large, bubbly bowl of fermented sourdough dough. Right now, since it's still cold, I put it in the warmest place in the house, by the fire, to rest and ferment because if it's too cold, it doesn't ferment or rise. I am not an expert sourdough maker. I don't create the beautiful and perfect sourdough that makes your eyes widen in awe. I make sourdough to fill the bellies of my hard-working husband and my growing littles who are always hungry. It's not the prettiest, but it sure tastes amazing. My family actually prefers this version of sourdough because it's soft and doesn't have a hard crust. The minute I take the loaves out of the oven, they are devoured as fast as I can cut it and slather on butter and honey, or on special occasions, homemade pear butter from our orchard. This sourdough recipe was shared with me by a kind friend who convinced us that we needed to add this to our lives, and I can't thank her enough. This may sound silly, but it has changed our world. Every day we all look forward to a piece of warm, soft, and fluffy bread. It now complements almost every meal.
Well, Cowboy Colt and I are up early, and we've got to move some cow bedding from the winter and get that on our blueberries so they can be growing nice this spring. After we do that, we've got a lot of fence to hang today. So we're gonna let this storm pass that just came in, and then we're gonna get out, and we got a lot of work to do. After hanging lots of fence over many years, I've found the cheapest, strongest fence starts with getting cedar logs in the woods, skinning them with a machete or draw knife, and then charring and treating them like the old timers all did. As a family, we will pick up all the sticks and branches in newly fenced pasture to make room for future grass. We then start a fire to char the buried ends of the posts. The charred ends create an inhospitable environment for rot.
Talk to an old farmer who has been charring his cedar with a diesel oil mix, and his posts are still in the field, dry as a bone, decades later.
I sink our posts 3 foot deep, and now use the auger on our tractor. Although before that, I've dug thousands of post holes manually with a post hole digger, which works great and has the added benefit of building character in a man, as well as calluses.
You're gonna put some dirt in with your feet?
You've not seen that tar, right?
No.
As a busy mom of 4 that works from home, I didn't think I could squeeze in one more chore. But making fresh sourdough bread has become a labor of love and now barely takes any time out of my day. When I make it without any help from the littles, it takes about 5 minutes to make the dough and feed my starter. When I make it with them, it takes a little longer. I absolutely love my washable scale because the water and flour get everywhere, so I have to wash it every time I make dough. I try to wash everything right when I don't need to use it anymore, because when the sticky dough dries, it is so hard to scrub it off. While the loaves are baking, I usually make the dough and feed my starter for the next day. And if I don't have time to make the dough while it's baking, I will make it at night after we put our little ones to sleep. When I do this, Proverbs 31 often enters my mind. She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household. This always makes my heart smile. Most recipes I've read say to stretch and fold the dough 4 or more times within 2 hours and then shape it and put it in the fridge. Since this is very time intensive, to do it this way is not realistic for me. I usually do 1 stretch and fold after I make the dough and then let it rise. I just do this whenever I think of it. I have even made the dough and accidentally fallen asleep without doing a stretch and fold, and it still fermented and rose by morning and satisfied everyone's bellies. Instead of using a Dutch oven and shaping the dough, I just plop the dough in loaf pans after it has risen and have the oven set at 375 instead of the usual 450. This produces a much softer crust, which we actually all enjoy more, and lucky for me, is much easier and faster to make. Most recipes also call to wait an hour before slicing. We just cut and serve it right out of the oven.
When we bought this property, there wasn't a single fence post, which makes running livestock impossible. On this ranch alone, I've put in over 2,000 fence posts in the past 5 years. This gives us a lot of different paddocks for rotational grazing to build beautiful, lush grass that feeds our sheep and cattle. Anyone raising grass-fed meat will tell you the most important part of their business is growing good grass. I try to find as much down wood as possible for line posts and H-braces to offset the cost of a fence build. Some of our larger paddocks are exclusively homemade posts, and others have some treated posts from the local lumber yard, because I needed to open up new ground for grazing quickly, and the time to make posts wasn't worth the cost of buying hay. The best way to learn how to hang fence is befriending an old farmer who has a straight, tight fence, and then learning everything he is willing to share with you. If you're too proud to learn from an old-timer, you probably won't have success farming. In my opinion, there isn't a more valuable skill set on earth than the one an old farmer possesses, and I've been fortunate to befriend many over the years, and to be related to some also. It's been said that a way to a man's heart is through his stomach, and the biggest blessing on earth for a man who works with his hands is a loving wife who makes delicious meals.
Can I eat it here?
Yeah, you can. And then Fulton.
Oh yeah. So good.
Slurp.
Not putting that in.
You're welcome.
Yummy.
Yay!
I was taught to use fence staples to hold my high tensile wire and form an X that meets in the middle of the H-brace with 2 wire strainers. I also use spare fence staples behind the fence wire, so when they are placed under hundreds of pounds of tension, they don't embed themselves into the fence posts, which makes tightening them later impossible. You always want a pair of fence pliers handy. This one tool allows you to cut 12-gauge wire, pull staples from fence posts, crimp your strainers into place, remove nails, hammer fasteners, and bend wire as needed. Once one diagonal of the X tension wire on my H-brace is done, it is tightened with a tensioner tool, which is a lot easier in the field than using a crescent wrench. Once your H-braces are stout and under tension, the fence is ready to stretch. The field fence is laid out from H-brace to H-brace, and a string line is established, after which you can stage the fencing against the line posts. I pick one H-brace and fasten the field fence that will serve as an anchor point as I stretch the fence tight against the line posts using tension from the other side. I used to pull a wrecking bar on a come-along, tensioned to a large tree. But these days I use the winch on my UTV to set the right tension before hammering in fence staples along the line posts. Lastly, I cut the tops of the posts at an angle so rain and snow shed off. In the middle of summer, I will apply roofing tar to the tops of the posts, and they will be sealed on the above ground side as well as the side buried 3 feet underground. If you see old farmers putting coffee cans on their fence posts, that is serving the same purpose.
Okay, so we are probably going to buy a milk cow tonight. I'm forcing Todd to stop working and we're gonna go drive and maybe pick up a milk cow.
Yeah, it's hard to get me to stop working, but anything that produces fresh milk that can wash down some sourdough is good in my book.
Yeah, so hopefully we come back and have a milk cow in our horse trailer.
Yeah, we'll see how many quarters it has working.
Yeah.
And make sure it's a good cow.
Yep. It's a
And,
Jersey cow
yeah, we want a pure Jersey.
for the cream.
Yeah, and we've been looking for a while, so hopefully this is the right cow for us.
Yeah, we've had milk goats before, but we've actually never had a milk cow, so this will be our first milk cow. What do you think, Arabella? Are you excited for some milk?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all excited.
Yeah, we need the the milk goats, we'd need like 20 of them to feed the amount of milk that these kids are downing.
Yes, yes.
So we need a large bovine.
Before we go though, we do have to feed these little babies because
And I
they're
gotta
trying
empty
to
out the
milk
back.
me right now. And we have to empty the back of the truck.
This is how it normally looks, just some conduit, some construction debris. And all right, I think we're road ready to go.
Okay.
Got some of my conduit sticking out of the back there, but it shouldn't hit the trailer.
Trey fancy.
As you can see, I've probably done that before with something a little more rigid than plastic conduit. That looks like a 2x4. Or maybe like a 1x4. But yeah, we got some fancy stuff going on here. How about this? How about this latch, huh? So it doesn't work. Oh, it stayed up.
Whoa. That's the first
Yeah,
in a
that's a
very long
first.
time.
But normally you want to use this paracord and this real fancy latch and get her hooked in there. And then
so it doesn't hit your head?
Then your hand's free.
Yeah.
And then I got to get some red duct tape to put over this light so we're legal. This may not cut the mustard, so to speak. Yeah. It is fastened with this rebar wire. But this trailer looked worse when we bought it. We fixed it up. Believe it or not. Let's go check this cow out. Hey, he's got that sourdough. Give me that sourdough. Give me that sourdough. I want that sourdough.
We brought home our new dairy cow and named her Shirley. We've fallen in love.
I love Shirley because she's so sweet.
I know, I love Shirley.
On our first date 13 years ago, while I was still in college, I told Todd that my dream was to live on a farm someday. Little did I know that only a year later he would make my dream come true. It was a dream that I didn't ever think could come true. I had always lived in small apartments surrounded by a sea of even more apartments. I didn't even really know what farm life really was. When we moved to 2 acres in the mountains 12 years ago, a whole new world was revealed to me. A world in which you could just look around and take in God's wonderful creation with all of your senses.
We are in one of our livestock barns here, and we're going to be making some pretty big changes today. It's currently housing sheep and chickens, and we're going to be bringing in our milk cow.
Yeah, so we're going to be changing this into the milk parlor. And this barn is kind of divided into 3. So in this section, we're making it into the milk parlor, and Todd's going to be building a milk stanchion and opening up this wall that's right here. Currently there's no opening in this section to our back area with all the animals, so we have to do that.
Yeah, so we're going to tie off of some of these tamarack timbers in here that are tying the barn together, and I'm just going to anchor a stanchion to that, and then that way we can bring the cow in the wintertime, turn on a light. I'll put a little heater in here, and we can milk Shirley in here.
That looks nice.
That is gonna let some light in.
Wow, yeah, it's made it so much brighter in here already.
Yeah, then we'll open up the bottom and I'll frame this out, put some barn doors maybe.
Woo,
And then we can lead her in from the outside.
hello.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Looks
The
beautiful.
only thing not ideal is, of course, the snow sheds off the roof here, so. But we don't have a gable in to work with. She has to come in on the eave side.
Yeah,
So it's okay. I can get the tractor back here and keep this cleared.
yeah.
Because we'll get 5 feet of snow out here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll have to just keep it cleared, which is fine.
Woo,
But it's gonna be great.
beautiful.
It jiggles so much it's hard to cut.
So Todd's about to come over with a skid steer and change the grade right here because our snow and rainwater is going to come off this roof and the slope is the wrong way. It's gonna fill into the barn. So he's just gonna change the grade a little bit so that when it comes off the roof, it doesn't go in the barn and it just comes out. He did that over here for the sheep shelter. So if you can see here, the grade's sloping out. So he's about to do that right now.